In Atlanta's halls of justice, one woman's victory begins.
You're nuts out me!
Truth will prevail.
But what was in that envelope?
The courtroom in downtown Atlanta hummed with the low murmur of anticipation, the kind that settles over a southern city like a summer storm about to break. Judge Harlan Brooks, a stern figure with silver hair and a reputation for fairness forged in the fires of civil rights cases from decades past, adjusted his glasses and cleared his throat. Seated at the plaintiff's table was Elena Washington, a poised woman in her mid-30s, her dark eyes steady despite the weight of the moment. Across from her, Bradley Thompson, her soon-to-be ex-husband, leaned back with that smug grin she had come to despise, his pen scratching across the divorce papers like nails on a chalkboard. He signed with exaggerated flair, his voice dripping with condescension as he muttered just loud enough for her to hear, finally free of that burden. The words hung in the air, laced with the ugly undercurrent of prejudice that had poisoned their marriage for years. Elena's hands clenched under the table, but she didn't flinch. At 35, she had risen through the ranks of Atlanta's architecture firms, designing structures that breathe life into forgotten neighborhoods. To Bradley, though, she was just another affirmative action Hyria black woman who had gotten lucky, nothing more. As the judge prepared to finalize the proceedings, he paused, pulling a sealed envelope from his bench. The room fell silent. What could be in there that would halt everything? Elena's heart raced. She knew it was from her late father, Dr. Marcus Washington, but even she couldn't have guessed the storm it would unleash. To understand how this moment came to pass, one has to go back 3 years, to the night Elena's world began to crack. She had just landed the contract for the $20 million Magnolia Arts Center, a sprawling community hub in Atlanta's historic West End neighborhood, meant to showcase local artists and revitalize the area with green spaces and modern lines that honored the city's soulful past. Bursting through the door of their upscale Buckhead home, she waved the contract like a flag of victory. "Bradley, honey, I got it. The Magnolia Project is my night's going to change everything for the community." He was lounging on the leather sofa, swirling a glass of bourbon, eyes fixed on the flat screen, tuned to some financial news channel. Without looking up, he snorted. "Yeah, sure. Bet they picked you for the optics. A black architect on the team looks good in the press releases." The words sliced through her joy like a cold wind off Lake Lanier. Elena stood there, the contract crumpling slightly in her grip. It wasn't the first time, but tonight it felt like a dam breaking. In the months leading up to that, Bradley's barbs had sharpened comments about how she only advanced because of diversity hires, how her designs were flashy but soulless, how she owed her success to handouts rather than hard work. "Without me, who'd even notice you?" he'd say, his blue eyes narrowing with that entitled gleam. Elena had met Bradley 8 years earlier at a charity gala in Midtown, where her firm's innovative proposals caught the eye of his investment banking crowd. He was charming then, the golden boy from a well-connected Savannah family, promising a partnership of equals. But marriage had revealed the rot beneath, a man who tolerated her success only as long as it reflected well on him, and resented it when it didn't. By the time she filed for divorce, his resentment had boiled over into outright sabotage. Late-night texts, "You're nothing without my name backing you." Calls to her clients, whispering doubts about her reliability, her instability. 2 contracts evaporated in a week, one for a school renovation in Decatur, another for a mixed-use development in East Atlanta. "See? I know people," he'd taunt during their heated arguments. "One word from me, and your little empire crumbles." What Bradley never understood was the quiet steel Elena had inherited from her father. Dr. Marcus Washington wasn't just a family physician. He was a pillar in Atlanta's black community, having clawed his way from the projects in East Point to a thriving cardiology practice in Cascade Heights. Born to a single mother who cleaned houses for white families in the suburbs, Marcus worked double shifts as a janitor while studying nights at Morehouse College. Medicine school at Emory followed. 8 grueling years of rejection from elite hospitals. Patients prefer someone they can relate to, they'd say, code for the color of his skin. Undeterred, he opened his own clinic in the 80s, charging what folks could afford, treating hearts broken by stress, poverty, and prejudice alike. Over 2 decades, Dr. Marcus became a legend. He saved the life of a prominent judge during a routine checkup that uncovered a blockage, counseled a state senator through bypass surgery, even treated the mayor's wife for arrhythmia. These weren't just patients, they were allies, bound by gratitude. Son, he'd tell Elena during their Sunday drives along Peachtree Street, folks who try to tear you down are scared of what you might build. Keep records, keep your head high, and let time do the rest. Those words echoed now as Bradley's attacks escalated. Elena started taping their calls, saving emails, building a file like her father taught her. But she had no idea the depth of his protection until after his passing from a sudden stroke 2 years prior. In the weeks before the hearing, strange things happened. A call from an old client in Alpharetta, offering a referral out of the blue. Your daddy saved my partner's life back in '05, said you were the best in the business. Then, a lunch invitation from Lorraine Hayes, a no-nonsense prosecutor whose aortic valve Dr. Marcus had repaired in '98. Marcus mentioned you might need a fighter. Lorraine said over sweet tea at a spot in Grant Park. He left instructions. Elena's curiosity burned. What had her father woven in the shadows? Bradley, meanwhile, ramped up his war. Social media smears, anonymous accounts posting, diversity hire strikes again. Atlanta's token architect? He bragged to his golf buddies at East Lake about putting that uppity woman in her place, unaware that one of them was the son of a patient Dr. Marcus had treated. The night before the trial, Elena found the letter in her father's old desk at the family home in southwest Atlanta. My dearest Elena, it began, her hands trembling as she read by lamplight. If you're holding this, the wolves are at the door. I've spent 30 years not just healing hearts, but guarding mine yours. Enclosed are files on Bradley. Every slur, every lie, every forged credential I've uncovered. Dr. Marcus had played the long game, using his access to verify Bradley's resumed fake MBA from a defunct online mill, tax dodges funneled through shell accounts. Kindness is a currency, he wrote. I've banked enough to bury him. The hearing dawned humid and tense, the Fulton County courthouse packed with Elena's supporters, fellow architects, church friends, even a few of her father's former patients. Bradley arrived in a tailored suit, flanked by high-priced lawyers from a firm in Midtown, smirking as he signed the papers. Over and done, he whispered to his attorney. Judge Brooks, whose own father had marched with Dr. King, interjected, before we divide assets, there's a codicil to Dr. Marcus Washington's will that pertains directly. He unsealed the envelope, and the room went pin-drop quiet. To my daughter Elena, the judge read, his voice steady as oak, I bequeath not just property, but the shield I've forged. For years, I've documented the abuses inflicted upon you by Bradley Thompson, racial epithets, professional sabotage, and frauds that mock the law. Bradley's face paled as the judge lifted a dossier recordings of slurs. That black girl thinks she's elite. Emails poaching clients. Bank statements showing embezzlement from joint ventures. Dr. Washington, with his unparalleled access, verified Mr. Thompson's falsified degrees and evaded taxes totaling over $150,000. Chaos erupted. Bradley bolted up. This is a witch hunt. That old man hated me. Lorraine Hayes, now at the defense table, rose like a thunderclap. Your Honor, as executor, I present corroboration. The recordings played Bradley boasting to friends about taming the help. Witnesses from the gallery, including a detective whose bypass Dr. Marcus performed, testified to the authenticity. Then, the doors swung open. Federal agents, tipped by Lorraine's office. Bradley Thompson, you're under arrest for fraud, defamation, and hate crimes. Handcuffs clicked as Bradley thrashed, his empire crumbling in real time. You can't do this. I have connections. But his pleas echoed hollow. The judge dissolved the marriage, awarding Elena all assets, the Buckhead house, her firm's equity. As he was led away, Elena met his gaze coolly. Daddy said truth cuts deepest. Yours just bled out. In the months that followed, Atlanta watched Elena rise like the phoenix from its own ashes. The Magnolia Arts Center broke ground without a hitch, its curves and open plazas drawing praise from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution as a beacon of inclusive design. Contracts poured in, a library in Vine City, a tech park in Hartsfield-Jackson Shadow. She founded Washington Designs, a firm employing 15, with a backlog stretching to 2026. No pity hires. These were nods to talent sharpened by fire. Bradley, house arrest in a cramped Decatur apartment, his banking license revoked, fines draining his trust fund. His Savannah kin distanced themselves, the country club blackballed him. Whispers in boardrooms, fraud and a bigot, good riddance. He scraped by as a real estate agent in the suburbs, his arrogance humbled by rejection letters. A year later, at the Georgia Architects Association Gala in the Fox Theater, Elena accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award, ironic for a woman just hitting her stride. "This isn't about me," she said, voice resonating off the marquee lights. "It's for every soul who's faced the boot of bias and stood taller. My father taught me, excellence silences doubt." The crowd, judges, developers, survivors of the old guard, rose in thunderous applause. Now, in her sunlit office overlooking Piedmont Park, Elena mentors young Black architects, her foundation granting scholarships to those echoing her path. Bradley's attempts at contact-begging emails from a Bernardo unread. Justice wasn't vengeance. It was vindication, a legacy etched in steel and stone. Have you ever stared down injustice in your own life, whether it be quiet prejudice or outright sabotage? What side did you take? Fight back with records and resolve, or let it slide? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's discuss how we confront bias and build better tomorrows. Your voice matters.